I think a lot of new folk who get into disc golf, they really want to figure out how can they just absolutely bomb their discs. How, they see guys like Paul, Ricky, yourself, Calvin, and they see him throwing them 500 feet on coverage, and they're like, damn, why am I only throwing 275? And it was perfect. So I guess we kind of want to get into a discussion about distance and maybe driving. What I guess are just kind of some basic tips that you would give someone, let's say you're doing a camp or a clinic or something like that. What are some basic tips that maybe you're looking for that people can record and kind of look at themselves to kind of maybe improve their distance?
Yeah, definitely. Just first of all, technique is everything. Obviously being in shape helps a lot too. But technique is really the premium for distance. And then in that category of technique, timing is the next big thing. So, so I would look for when the hips are rotating, when the shoulders are rotating, when the reach back happens, if that's lined up with that front foot planting, or some kind of key things you can look at. I would also look to try to make sure that the reach back is nice and full and also in line with the pull and not across your body or anything like that. And then also that the power pocket gets in the right spot with kind of 90-degree angles right here. And yeah, I've got some YouTube videos kind of talking about some of this stuff too. But those are kind of some of the things that I would probably look for that a lot of people kind of mess up, I guess.
Okay. How much, I guess, how important do you think distance is starting out? I know for playing games, going out with your buddies, you cannot get birdies if you can't throw that distance, obviously, because you got to park it and you got to get that distance to be able to hit those birdies. But starting out to build good habits, build a good form of playing, how important would you say distance is in the overall game for new players?
Yeah, I feel like, obviously, like, it's not how far, it's how many. So if you wanted to shoot low, you'd have to just, be more accurate and more consistent. That's kind of the main thing. But I feel like technique kind of helps with distance and accuracy kind of at the same time. So I think if you try to just improve technique, then both will kind of fall into place. So I think for anybody, that's kind of where I would start, I guess.
Nice. We have said this many times on our show. Field work is arguably the most important thing you can do to get better. How many times a week would you do field work comparatively to maybe doing practice rounds or something like that?
I'll usually do both every day. I mean, this is, it's kind of all I do. So I'll usually, putt and throw shots and try to film. I don't film every day anymore, but probably most days. And then I'll usually play like a practice round as well. So, but yeah, field work is definitely super important. If you can get yourself on film and slow it down, and then if you can compare it side to side to like an elite athlete, an elite pro, that definitely helps a lot.
How do you break down your field work? Do you have like a schedule, or do you like something you need to work on, your weaknesses, or how does that look?
Yeah, so since the season's ended, I've been trying to work on kind of my touch approach game. So I've been throwing my puddles like 200 feet. Trying to work on that. I'm trying to strengthen some of the pulse of the game that I don't necessarily have. Like I feel like my sidearm's a little bit weak, so I've been working on that. Like sidearm angles, trying to put the disc on anheuser, I definitely need to improve on that. And yeah, trying to get my weaknesses to a point where I'm confident that I can execute.
When you're driving comparatively to maybe when you're throwing an approach shot, how different is your form? Like, are you still, head down every time, pulling back and throwing as hard as you can? Or like, are you slowing yourself down? Or is it more of a, I'm going to change the disc speed so I can kind of try to keep everything the same and, let the disc kind of do most of the work? Like, what are some big differences maybe between an approach shot and a drive?
Yeah. So I like to ideally kind of throw every shot the same speed. So if I'm like 300, maybe 30 feet, I can just throw a putter, and then anything after that, I can just, use more disc, so I can just use the same speed. But then if I have to throw something that's 250, then I have to, I'll still use a putter, but I'll have to slow my technique down a little bit, maybe not reach back quite as far, and yeah, just kind of condense it to where it's not as powerful.
How important are like putters in your game? How much do you use that in your regular game?
Yeah, a lot, honestly. Kind of anytime I can. If it's a short enough hole, I definitely love throwing the putter. It for me, it holds the tightest line, so it's the most accurate, and then it also has the least amount of ground play as well, the least amount of skip, so you can kind of control it after it finishes flying too. So yeah, puddles are definitely a a really important part of the game.
Making sure your body's healthy and able to play disc golf as long as you can. Horatio put up a reel and a story on our Instagram the other day talking about thumbers, and we actually got quite a lot of feedback that said they don't really throw thumbers because they don't want to mess their shoulder up. Is there any throw that you have that you're like, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to take the potential injury risk?
I don't think so. If I could throw thumbers, I feel like I probably would. It's not something I want to work on as well. I feel like there's got to be a correct way to do it that's not bad for your shoulder, as long as you don't overdo it. But yeah, it's definitely important to keep your body in shape. And if there is a throw that you're doing that makes you feel a certain way, then it's maybe a good idea to change the technique or to just kind of not use that throw, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't know that I was gonna get that much. I didn't get attacked, but people were like, I want to play this for a long time, so I don't throw thumbers.
Yeah.
It's just a fun throw, and it looks cool. Especially if you go out with people that don't play often and you throw that, it's a really cool shot. And it's useful.
Right. That's a good weapon to have. A lot of people don't have it, so if you can just use that to go over obstacles instead of trying to go through them, definitely help. Yeah,
there's a guy that plays here locally on my course. He throws thumbers all the time. He can throw it over a pond the shot is 280 feet, and he'll just throw a thumber. But it's sweet because the basket's just on the edge on the other side of the pond, and so the thumber is awesome because it just comes straight down like a missile. So for that, it's really cool. But yeah, he must have been a baseball player or something because it's insane.
Yeah, I don't have any kind of overhand game. I throw grenades. That's kind of what I use if I have to go over top. But I feel like that's probably a little bit easier on the joint.
Yeah. What kind of potential workouts are you doing, or maybe some things you want to look for in your diet? Because we did do an episode a long time ago. It's one of our earliest episodes. If you guys haven't listened to it, we sat down with Disc Golf Strong and we kind of talked about how to stay in disc golf longer, how to keep your body healthy. But we want to hear from some more voices and, what workouts are you doing to get stronger, better at disc golf? And what does your diet kind of look like in order to help with that?
Yeah. So most of my walkouts are just kind of general lifting. I'm not like super tailored to disc golf. I don't think having muscle helps like a whole lot. I think, it's kind of all in technique. So I think building muscle is it's mostly for like injury prevention. So if I can kind of surround the lifting with that. So I'll just do just normal like just lifting stuff with like dumbbells or cables or whatever else. As far as diet, my diet's basically just beans and rice and like hot sauce and a tortilla and then peanut butter and honey sandwiches is kind of what I've been living off this whole season. Hopefully if I have like an upgraded vehicle next season and maybe have a fridge, then I can get some more fruits and vegetables in there too. But just kind of what I've been living off of.